Hi, this is Michael Waitze, and welcome back to the Thailand GameChanger. We are focused on the driving forces behind the startup ecosystem in Thailand and Southeast Asia, produced by True Digital Park in conjunction with Michael Waitze Media. We have the most informative and very lucky today, insightful conversations with startup founders, venture capitalists, ecosystem builders, and senior leaders from tech giants and the government, all recorded in this studio at True Digital Park. I'm joined today by Limsamarnphun, the editor-in-chief at Thailand Today .co. How are you doing today, Nop?
I'm fine. Hello, Michael and everyone on the show.
It's good to have you here. Can you give us, it's not fair though, because you've been on TV, you've hosted your own stuff, right? But let's, for the people that don't know, can we give a little bit of your background and some of your history for context?
So basically, I'm in journalism in newspaper for about 30 years.
Yeah.
So I started out long time ago. Even my first year with the typewriter, if you may remember.
I do.
Before we have the word processor. So that a long time ago. So I have seen a lot of changes in the news media, especially in the English language news media here in Thailand.
Yeah, let's get to that in a second too. What was the original reason why you got interested in news to begin with, and particularly because The Nation is where you started, right?
Yeah.
But The Nation has always been an English newspaper?
Yep, from the beginning, 40 years something.
So what was the idea there?
The idea at the time is that we got only the Bangkok Post before at the time. So they want to break the monopoly.
Right.
So they want something, an alternative to the audiences. So Kun Sutichai Yun was co-founded The Nation in 1970.
Wow.
Something.
But why was the idea to do it in English? In other words, what was the impact they were expecting to have?
So at the time is probably around the end of the Vietnam War, a lot of geopolitical things and even the anti-communist communism issue.
Right.
So the English news media is quite significant in one sense, and the Thailand just started to open up the economy to the world, and I think and many people outside Thailand, they did not have a good idea of the country. They even mix up with Taiwan.
I know, all the time. We talked about this before we started recording, right? So then I talk to, every time I have somebody in the studio who's Thai, I kind of ask them this question. It's like, when you travel, it doesn't matter if it's to the United States or to some other place in Asia, and you say, I'm from Thailand, I bet 50% of the time they say, Taiwan?
At the time, even worse. But now we got a better name in tourism in the last 30 years.
Sure.
So more people know Thailand better. Yeah.
But still, back then, and I didn't even put this into context, but it's an interesting point. 1970, it's really just like the end of the Vietnam War.
Yep.
The Vietnam War's ending. It didn't really finish until 75. But still. And as Thailand started to open, I guess having news in English became more and more important, right? Who has bigger circulation, The Nation or the Post?
Oh, the Bangkok Post. They continue to be in terms of circulation.
Got it.
And The Nation now getting smaller. Yeah.
I understand. So let's talk a little bit about a topic we talk about a lot here, and that's technology and the impact that it's having. How do you describe the relationship between technology and the sort of dissemination of news, how news gets out there?
Yep. I think it's the single biggest issue for the news media. Actually, the news media and the other media sector, including entertainment, probably were the first biggest disruption we have experienced. Actually, it's not a new thing.
Not really.
The disruption started many years ago, maybe even 20 years ago.
Really?
Slowly, gradually. So especially focusing on the news media, the newspaper. Now everyone is going down in terms of revenue. And you know that the new generation, they don't know newspaper as a newsprint. I got two kids, 14 years old. They don't know how to open the newspaper even. They only know their own mobile smartphone, the news, their source of news.
Right. Yeah, I mean, look, when I was a kid, I used to deliver newspapers as a job. We also used to get a newspaper delivered to our house every morning. I mean, that was where we saw everything. And there were two main business models, right, for newspapers, at least as I understand. Classified ads and regular advertising.
Yeah, the display ads.
Right. But it was mostly a local business, a very local business, right? And I guess USA Today, which is probably what you're talking about, and the satellite printing of things started drastically changing what it meant to be a local newspaper, right?
But what you said, it already finished because of the newer technology, especially the digital technology and the mobile, the smartphones.
Okay. So tell me exactly, how specifically have you seen over time? Maybe give me a little bit of a timeline too. Has technology impacted like the news and just media in general?
Yeah, very significantly 20 years ago.
Right.
I think probably that's the beginning.
Okay.
And getting more and more serious impacts, especially in terms of the business side, the financial side, the economics of doing a newspaper business.
Right.
It's no longer viable. Even today, we could say that all the listed newspaper companies in Thailand are losing money. And they don't see any possibility of turning around in an easy fashion. So it's going to be a big challenge. You can compare that with the world biggest, even the New York Times.
Right.
Maybe they survive, but an exception. Everyone know the New York Times, right?
Right.
And Washington Post, maybe they have got big, rich owner.
Right. Right. But is the Washington Post, and I don't know the answer to this, but is the Washington Post a viable business, or is it just supported by Jeff Bezos because he has $125 billion? I don't know the answer to that question.
Maybe both. You
right?
got a good tech. You are got one of the best tech guys in the world, the richest man in the world.
Right.
And you got quality content. Maybe they can survive.
Right.
New York Times, another example.
Go ahead. Yeah, so I've done some reading on this, and I think that if you look at the Financial Times, the FT, right, also globally known newspaper, the New York Times, they have their highest subscription rates ever.
Yep.
Right, so people are actually paying for quality, right? Okay.
But I think the future is not in that direction for the rest of the newspaper company.
Tell me.
So they better online, they better digital, they better do away with the paper, except you're going to charge quite expensive for the older audience who still want newsprint with their morning coffee.
Right.
Maybe it's cost you 100 baht a copy or 200, that's no problem.
Yeah, because if you just want it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the older people now, they're quite comfortable with technology, with smartphone.
Very much
you
so.
know, many of them, they use bigger screen smartphone, and they can read newspaper on the smartphone or iPads or that sort of thing.
So are you suggesting that a company like The Nation, where you've worked for almost 30 years, right, that at some point that the printing will almost go away?
They stopped printing last year. No newspaper, only online version at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that. I mean, I haven't, like I said, I haven't had a newspaper delivered to me.
You did not follow the newsprint.
No.
You're online.
I'm online, but I'm online only. But I've been online only for...
And the latest one, Michael and everyone, the Bangkok Post announced they're going to sell the news, the new factory, newsprint factory, and the offices because they're losing money. This public information, they reported to the Stock Exchange of Thailand that they're going to sell the news factory. I mean the printing
factory.
Yeah, the printing press.
So they're literally getting out of the printing press business.
And they outsource the printing to other companies.
Right.
At least get some money from the selling the printing
Right, at least
press.
get some kind of cash in. But if the future is digital, and this is really interesting to me, right? If the future is digital, companies like Tech in Asia, companies like E27, companies like Coconuts that have been digitally native for not even that long, 5 years at the most, right? They started digitally. They kind of mirrored what was going on in the United States with companies like TechCrunch and some other companies. What's your view on those becoming big viable businesses as well? Because I don't know, I've never seen the financials for them, but I know that Tech in Asia raised a lot of money. I know that E27 raised some money. Coconuts, I'm not so sure. What's your view on those businesses?
I think the business model for the news media in particular is still not clear.
It's not though, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everyone is exploring the possibilities,
Right.
including myself at Thailand Today.co. We are a new English language website for
Right.
news. We think we're going to fill the gap because many people, when they travel to Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, even in ASEAN country, they want original English news on Thailand. They
On
don't
Thailand,
have
yeah.
it on Thailand,
Right.
especially business and economics.
Right, because they don't have any other place to get it.
Yeah. Some of them got only the clipping from the public relation agency, translating the Thai content
Right.
into English.
But that's not good enough.
But the original ones are interviewed in English or anything on business, technology, and economy.
Got it.
I think there's a shortage of quality one.
Agreed.
Yeah. So ThailandToday.co, we aim to be the provider of high quality news in English.
So is there a relationship between The Nation and ThailandToday.co?
Not really, except that the founder of ThailandToday.co is a former chairman of Nation many years ago, not recently. I
Right.
mean, more than 10 years ago.
Got it.
So the relation is only very distant.
So who's the founder and the CEO of this business?
ThailandToday.co is part of the Khun Thanachai. Khun Thanachai is the ex-chairman of Nation more than 10 years ago.
So what is Media Expertise International?
They are the publisher of Sawadee magazine, the Infi magazine on
Right.
Thai Airways International.
What's the relationship between them and Thailand Today?
We are just part of the Media Expertise International.
Got it. Okay.
So they got Sawadee, they got the Bazaar, the fashion magazine.
Got it. Okay.
Sort of thing.
So when did this start, Thailand Today?
In October last year.
Oh my God, so it's practically brand new.
Brand new, yes.
October 2019.
Correct.
So how big is this staff?
You mean the people?
How many people work here?
We have a new model that we got only about 10 people.
Okay.
And then the rest sort of columnists, freelancer.
And do they get paid?
Yeah, they do. They do per articles.
They get paid per article.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. So you're trying to just reinvent this entire business model.
Yep. And we're still exploring various revenue models
Right.
to support this new venture. Like you said earlier, that likely that digital and online media are going to be the future.
Right.
How to make money out of it and how to sustain those contents.
So I'm going to ask you now, what have you learned since October? Have you been here since the founding?
Yep.
You've been working here right from the start, right? When it was nothing.
Yep.
And what have you learned since October about what the business model might be, but also that what you were wrong about, like things that you've tested that didn't work out? I'm really curious what that process has been like.
So we started out with a lot of attention grabbing publicity. We started out recently before the end of the year, roundtable discussion. So our first topic was the Thailand and China relations outlook for this new year.
Right.
What issues are facing this country and in connection with China, especially the impacts of the trade war between the US and China on Thailand.
And recently there's been some little trade war stuff between Thailand and the United States as well.
Yeah.
And anyway, we can talk about that later, but yeah, go ahead. So that was your first thing. You had a roundtable discussion.
Yeah. So we invited the Deputy Secretary General of the Prime Minister, Mr. Kopsak Putukun. So he's an insider from Government House.
Absolutely.
And then we got Kun Plin Panishpak, the head of the Democrat Party economic team.
Right.
We got Dr. Panithan, he's an expert on the security issue.
Got it.
So Thailand, China is a big power, so security is a
Huge question, right?
Geopolitical issue.
Right.
So quite an interesting. So we think we try to do series of knowledgeable roundtable discussions.
Right.
Something right around here.
Yeah.
And then we got experts.
Bring them in and we'll record them as well, right?
Yeah. And in English.
In English. So the whole conversation was in English. So it
We
wasn't like you
may
had to, go ahead.
Subtitle in Thai
Of course.
to expand the audience.
Right.
So I think that's one way we're going to create quality contents for our audience,
Okay.
and hopefully this will lead to some revenues later on.
Right. Hopefully, right. What was the response to those roundtable discussions?
Quite good, especially we're expanding the Thai audience. Thousands of them aware of ThailandToday.co now.
Okay.
We're trying to expand in the English-speaking communities. We started a lot in LinkedIn, in Twitter, Facebook.
Okay.
That's the social medias, and building on the SEO, the search engine optimization.
Do you have your own SEO team, or do you have your own social media team?
Yeah, the company behind Thailand Today, they're following the analytics and how we're going to promote contents online.
Got it. So what are some of the things that you did that haven't worked so far? Like something that you tried, or some news angle that you tried and it just was like nobody cared?
I think the people, we believe they need, there's a shortage of quality news on, especially on the business, on the economic, technology,
Right.
on Thailand in English.
In English, right?
Yeah.
So how many English speakers are there in Thailand, do you think, out of a population of 70 million people?
Okay, we have quite a big expat community, but the point is that business people outside Thailand, such as thousands or tens of thousands in Singapore, based in Singapore.
Right.
There are regional head offices.
Right.
All the big companies are there, even in Hong Kong, Malaysia. They need, when they look into Thailand, they like to get reliable, objective,
Right.
unbiased news on, especially on business, economic, and technology.
Right. So who competes with you guys in this space? We know the Bangkok Post has an online thing. We know that some other people do this, but none of it seems to be this targeted. And none of it's definitely this new. Like no one started last October.
Yeah, I think we quite new in an area that I think we can build up, especially with the so-called the creative content. If you may aware that the standard is quite popular Thai
Yep.
language
Right.
website. We aim to be something in that direction.
Okay.
And but they are more general. They are not focused directly on business
And technology.
or technology.
Right.
Yep.
So what's your background in technology? And I guess the other question is, how has the startup community, which is very tech focused, right? How does that impact what you do? And then how does it impact the way we get news and information? Not just from the media space, but like all the stuff that's happening in the tech startup world.
In general, we are paying catch up. I mean, for the tech, for the startup community in Thailand.
In Thailand, you think?
When compare with Singapore,
Maybe.
Malaysia, Hong Kong, and other ASEAN countries.
Okay.
I think around here, the True Digital Park is one example how they're trying to boost.
Right. The startup community. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's specifically on the technology for the media, for the news media in particular, because you have entertainment media, you have this and that, education media. But for the news media, that's still quite a big challenge. I don't think anyone in this country have exact answer to how technology can be optimized for the news media yet.
I don't think anybody's globally figured it out.
Yeah.
Right. So even if you look at companies in the United States like BuzzFeed or Vice Media, Vox Media, right? All these companies that started with a lot of fanfare, raised a lot of money, right? Those companies now are trying to figure out, again, they're cutting back some staff in places, and they're still trying to figure out, how do we make money? Right? So it's a real challenge. I think and tell me what you think, but I think part of the challenge is that in a world where there's an infinite amount of space, right? In other words, I can build a website while we're sitting in this room.
No supply problem.
No supply problem at all. Now, I agree with you, and I try to do the same thing in a way, right? Because I'm trying to create content that I call substantive. I don't want to have like flashy headlines. I don't want to do anything stupid. I want to have a serious conversation with people to inform in the same way, right? So I've been told by people, you should do this in Thai. Like there's plenty of content in Thai. But the only way to inform people, so the next time we travel and go to Canada or go to the United States and someone says, where are you from? And you say, I'm from Thailand. They know because they've read your stuff and they can see it on thailandtoday.co, right? I mean, that's got to be part of the idea.
Yep.
I'm really curious though about the business modeling here, right?
I heard one person, I shouldn't name, but the broad idea is that he kind of planning to acquire hundreds or even thousands of websites. And then I guess he will need AI or machine learning to run those sites.
Right.
You can train a model to manage, and you can tackle the multiple languages.
Right.
Like you said, you have a lot of contents in English. You can translate it into Thai, and the quality getting better and better.
Yep.
Maybe you need human curators at the beginning.
Right.
But later on, machine learning will be smarter and smarter, and maybe in the end you only need human supervisor. So you can do multiple websites. You can have maybe 50 Michael Waitze websites in multiple languages.
Right.
Maybe Indonesian, Chinese, Thai, and so many. This sort of thing. I'm not sure is that the way technology going to shape the news media.
Yeah, not sure, right? Right. So in the same way, so I have a bunch of websites. All of them have the word Asia in it.
How many you have now?
10.
10. Maybe you need 100.
Maybe I do. And I actually spoke to a man here at one event who I think has 1,000 websites, all that have some kind of Thailand angle.
So how he going to land it?
I don't know.
AI, machine learning,
So he wants it all to be technologized, and he wants to go out, I believe, and scrape, right? So I was going to ask you, for the Thailand Today, are those real people writing real articles?
Yep, we are all humans.
All humans, right?
Journalists.
Right. But then at some point, are you going to go out and get news from somewhere else and then put it on the site? So it's a link. Is it going to be a link blog, or is it just going to be only original curated content that you manage and supervise?
At the moment, we do about 10 to 20 stories a day, originally created by veteran journalists.
Right.
Most of them are 20 years experience in professional journalism.
Right.
So we can expect unbiased and very objective news reporting.
Yeah. Very important.
And columnists, freelancer, all of them have more than 20 years experience. So
right. So, which means if they have 20 years of experience, that must mean they must be in their 40s or late 40s, right?
Even older. Some
older.
of them even more than 30 year experience.
Right. So how do you use all of that embedded experience, embedded knowledge, which gives you like great writing and a great objective point of view, and convince them that technology is going to change the way that they disseminate information? In other words, because a lot of people kind of fall away when things change, right? What's been your experience in working with people that are still committed even today, 30 years of experience, using just a massively different distribution model and business model to keep doing what they must love to do?
Yeah. So we have a few veteran columnists and freelancer writers. So basically, they're happy that ThailandToday.co help them distribute the idea, the insights, the online, and especially we explain them. We have the triangular model to like the website, the portal web, ThailandToday.co, and then we have social media. Like I mentioned, we have the Facebook, the Twitter, Line, LinkedIn, and then we have another one. It's SEO. All together, that is like a circle, like a circular way to approach and to boost the traffic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I call this the virtuous circle, right? You just want to get people going, get that little thing spinning, and the faster it spins, the more people come and stuff like that. Yeah. So.
But most important, again, back to your question, the revenue model.
Right.
How we generate revenues from, example, maybe you got a very good example. You said you got 10 website already. Maybe you need 100, and then you have the critical mass. You have the economies of scale for the advertiser, for the supporter, this sort of thing.
Right, but isn't there and help me with this. I go back and forth on this, right?
Yep.
In other words, is 10 websites too many?
Not really. I think it's too little, too few.
But why? Because does it get confusing for the followers?
No,
where to
because
go for content?
in the digital world, you not only think about Thailand, you think of ASEAN, maybe ASEAN 10 countries still too small for you.
Yeah, for sure.
You think of Japan, Korea, you think of India,
Yep.
so Australia. So 10 websites maybe too few. I think the economy of scale in the digital era may be hundreds or even thousands.
Thousands.
How are you going to manage it? You need machines to manage it.
Got it. And are you building that right now?
I just got this idea from one of the guys that I'm going to talk to him later on. That he talk about 1,000 or even 10,000 websites.
I think I met this guy.
Oh,
He was trying to tell me the same thing. Okay, I mean, I'm just going to have to do some more learning on this, right? Let me ask you this too, though, right? So you said that Thailand is kind of playing a little bit of catch up when it comes to the startup world in relation to other countries like maybe Singapore. What do you think has to change in Thailand? What's going to change the game so that catch up can actually take place?
One of the big problem in Thailand is the language.
You think so?
We are not so good at the Singaporean, Malaysian, Indonesian in terms of using English. But now getting better because of technology.
Right.
Every kids have got the mobile, they play game. So at least they learn some English words on the games.
Right.
So English getting better. And another one is the cultural. Thai people, Thai students, Thai school usually are not very creativity promoting like in the West.
Okay.
Because we like to follow orders. But now the younger generation less and less so.
Yeah, I don't think anybody under like 15 wants to follow orders. For sure.
Yeah. So they're getting more and more creative.
Right.
And then another one is the policy. The government policy is still not quite effective, even though they keep improving.
So if you could tell the government to change one thing, what would it be?
I think the taxation, I heard the incentive for startups still not so favorable compared to about the stock you give to startup.
All the laws
what about
around
tax issue about those stock once those startups become profitable and that sort of thing.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think from the policy point of view, we in the right direction.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I would tell the government to do two things. The first is you can start up a company using English law.
Yep.
That's what they do in Singapore, right? And I don't mean the language. I just mean the structure of the law is based on the English legal system. Because then globally, everybody can understand what it means. It just means that there'll be more interest. Because right now, if you start a company in Thailand, it's governed by Thai law in the Thai language. It's just very hard for foreigners to understand. And the second thing maybe is make it easier to bring in good talent.
The people.
Immigration.
So you have to open up, especially multinational. Try to do more like the American, the
or
melting
just
pot.
more like what Singapore does when you bring people into the country. Just make it easier for people to work, people that want to work here.
But I heard many already in the northern Thailand, in Phuket, right?
Yeah, in Chiang Mai and Phuket. So there's a digital nomad community in Chiang Mai that's unrivaled globally. We should make it easier for those people to stay there, though.
Maybe some big successes, but we did not know originated in Thailand.
Yeah, don't know, right? Probably though. But there's nothing stopping. So I love being here because I think just geographically it's the perfect place to be in Asia, right? And like you say, I think there's a massive amount of information that the world doesn't know about Thailand, underrepresented in its ability to send that information out in English. That's why I do what I do as well. What do you think is the biggest goal for ThailandToday.co this year? What's your biggest goal?
Yeah, I think if we can get traffic going up to the 10,000s or even more, and then we can do a lot of informative, knowledgeable round tables. Originally,
so you're the editor-in-chief, right?
Yeah.
Do you also drive the content creation? Like you have the original ideas and you drive that?
Especially via the round tables series we are planning. We're planning some on the topic of technology.
Okay.
On the challenges Thailand facing in technology, in the economic outlook.
Right.
Even the tech war between the US and China.
When it comes to artificial intelligence
how
and
Thailand
machine
is
learning.
going to fit in. Right here, we in displays we see over it. That's quite a big issue.
Huge. Huawei cannot sell any of their products in the United States, right? Particularly their phone switching products.
So that will be a lot of
networking stuff.
Implications on Thailand.
Yeah.
Including cybersecurity.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think that a lot of the back-end systems, a lot of the networking equipment for the phone companies here is run by Huawei as well.
I think it's a mix.
I think it's a mix.
Thailand is quite good in balancing
it out.
We have Ericsson, we have quite big. Ericsson quite big, so it's Swedish.
Yep.
So they counterbalance the Chinese.
Yeah.
I think the major telco, they have more than one supplier.
For sure.
Not only Huawei.
Well, they don't want a single point of failure, right? Yeah. Do you still write?
Yeah, I do sometimes, especially on technology. My favorite topic is digital transformation, disruption.
Right.
It's not only about the company, but the people, the many factors that being affected by technology.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting, right? Because not only do you like to write about it, but you're actually living digital transformation every single day. You're deep inside of it, right? Because you're moving out of print into the digital space while you're writing about digital transformation.
That's why I need two mobile, big one. You can see here. And have 3 bank accounts online. So I cannot leave my phone out of sight.
No.
Because all my 3 bank accounts
are there.
I never go to the bank counter now for months.
Why would
because
you?
we move money
here
around here.
Yeah.
So technology is very actually is affecting you first, and then people around you, like my kids.
We could do like a whole different show on digital transformation.
Yep.
We should do that too, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I can join you.
Please. No, I mean with you. We should just sit here and just have a whole conversation on digital transformation in Thailand. Okay, look, this has been awesome. I'm going to let you go, but I just want to thank you for coming in and doing this. Limsamarnphun, the editor-in-chief at thailandtoday.co. This was really great.
So thank you, Michael, very much for your kindness in inviting me to join this show, and we can catch up and update
let's do
again on the impact of technology on the news media and other activities in Thailand.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
Thank you.